The steam choked the air like a secret too heavy to breathe. My hands braced against the slick tile as hot water carved rivers down my back. I was 42, divorced, and utterly alone in that godforsaken suburban haze of Maplewood, New Jersey, when the bathroom door creaked open, not with the casual slam of my stepson Jake bursting in for toothpaste, but with a silence that hit like a thunderclap. There he stood, Alex, Jake's best friend from college, 19 and built like the summer storms that rattled our cul-de-sac, his dark eyes locking onto mine through the fogged glass, towel slipping from his grip. And in that frozen heartbeat, I knew my world had just cracked wide open. I didn't scream, didn't lunge for the curtain. Something in his gaze, raw, unfiltered, like he'd been carrying this weight for years, pinned me there, water pounding my shoulders as if to drown the panic rising in my chest. Alex, with his easy laugh at Jake's barbecues, the kid who'd crashed on our couch after late-night study sessions. Now a man staring at me like I was the answer to a question he hadn't dared ask. Mr. Harlan David, he stammered, voice barely cutting the roar of the shower, his cheeks burning redder than the flush of embarrassment should allow. I grabbed the towel rack, knuckles white, my heart slamming against ribs that felt too fragile for this. What the hell? Alex, get out. But even as the words left my lips, they tasted like a lie, because part of meth, part I'd buried under layers of straight-laced routine and a failed marriage to Jake's mom didn't want him to move. He didn't. Not right away. The door swung shut behind him with a soft click, sealing us in that humid cocoon, and he stepped closer, the towel forgotten on the floor, his lean, sun-kissed frame glistening from whatever hurried rinse he'd abandoned in the guest bath. I heard the water. Jake's out cold. Said to make myself at home. His voice cracked, boyish vulnerability clashing with the fire in his eyes. And I saw it then, the tremor in his hands. The way his breath hitched like he'd rehearsed this 1,000 times in the dark. 19. On the cusp of everything. With that effortless grace from weekend soccer games and late shifts at the campus cafe. And me, twice his age, scarred by boardroom battles and bedtime stories for a stepson who barely knew me anymore. The age gap yawned between us like a chasm, but in that steam-filled moment, it felt like a bridge. I killed the water, the sudden silence amplifying every drip, every ragged inhale. This isn't Alex. You're Jake's friend. This can't happen. My voice was gravel, rough from disuse. From years of pretending I was the all-American dad with the picket fence and the 9-to-5 grind at the insurance firm. But as I wrapped the towel around my waist, stepping out onto the bath mat, our eyes met again, and the room shrank to the space between us. He reached out, tentative, his fingers brushing my arm electric, forbidden, and whispered, I've wanted to tell you. For so long. The confession hung there, heavy as the humidity, unraveling the threads of my carefully constructed life. That night, in the dim glow of the hallway lights spilling under the door, everything I'd believed about love safe, predictable, straight as the lines on a suburban map shattered like glass underfoot. We stumbled out of the bathroom in a tangle of whispers and half-apologies, the house asleep around us, Jake's snores rumbling faintly from his room down the hall. My bedroom door clicked shut behind us, a sound that felt final, like the locking of a vault I hadn't known I was guarding. Alex's hands were everywhere, trembling on my chest, tracing the lines of scars from a life of quiet desperation, and I let him. God help me, because in his touch was a hunger I'd starved for years. He was all youth and fire, lips crashing against mine with the urgency of someone who'd waited too long, his body pressing me back against the dresser, knocking a framed photo of Jake's high school graduation to the floor. It cracked, the glass splintering like my resolve, but I didn't care. Not when his breath ghosted my neck, murmuring my name like a prayer, David, please, and I pulled him down onto the bed, the sheets twisting around us like conspirators. It wasn't gentle. It was a storm, hands gripping hips, teeth on collarbones, the raw friction of skin on skin that left us both gasping, slick with sweat and the remnants of shower steam. He moved like he knew my body better than I did, intuitive and fierce. His moans muffled against my shoulder as I arched beneath him, every nerve alight with a pleasure I denied myself since college experiments buried deep in freshman year regrets. 42 and rediscovering touch, with a 19-year-old who tasted like mint gum and forbidden fruit, his dark hair damp under my fingers, his laughter breaking through the heat when I fumbled a kiss. "You're beautiful," he said, eyes shining in the moonlight slanting through the blinds. And I believed him, for the first time in years, as waves of release crashed over us, leaving us spent and entangled, hearts pounding in sync. Dawn crept in too soon, gray light filtering through the curtains like an unwelcome witness. Alex stirred first, his head on my chest, fingers idly tracing the graying hairs there, a soft smile playing on his lips that made my throat tighten. "Last night. Was it real?" His voice was small, laced with the fear of a kid stepping off a cliff. And I pulled him closer, pressing a kiss to his forehead, tasting salt and solace. "Real as it gets," I murmured, but doubt gnawed at the edges. Jake in the next room, oblivious. The neighborhood with its prying eyes and whispered judgments. The yawning chasm of years between us. We dressed in silence, stealing glances that lingered too long. And as he slipped out to the guest room, I caught his hand, squeezing it like a lifeline. Breakfast was torture, pancakes sizzling on the griddle, Jake yawning over his coffee, Alex across the table with that secret spark in his eyes, our knees brushing under the wood. One wrong look, and it would all unravel. The days blurred into a dangerous rhythm. Jake, 21 and buried in his engineering textbooks, invited Alex over more often, study sessions that stretched into evenings of takeout pizza and bad action flicks in the living room. I'd linger in the kitchen, pretending to wash dishes, stealing moments when Jake dozed off on the couch, Alex's hand slipping into mine behind the counter. A quick press of lips in the pantry that left me dizzy. It was intoxicating. This hidden world we'd carved out, texts buzzing my phone at midnight with heart emojis and "miss you already." His voice husky on late-night calls when Jake was out. But guilt was a shadow, lengthening with every stolen touch. I was the adult, the stepdad, the one who should know better. Yet every time Alex smiled at me across the breakfast table, all easy charm and hidden heat, I fell deeper. One evening, as rain lashed the windows, Jake cornered me in the garage, toolbox in hand, his brow furrowed like it hadn't been since his mom left 2 years back. "Dad, David, you okay? You've been weird lately." Distracted. His eyes, so like his mother's, blue and searching, pinned me, and I forced a laugh, wiping grease from my hands on a rag. "Just work stress, kid. Deadlines piling up." He nodded, but the doubt lingered. And as he headed inside, Alex appeared in the doorway, rain-damp jacket slung over his shoulder, his gaze flicking to me with that electric pull. "Hey, Mr. H. David. Mind if I crash again? Library's a zoo." Jake waved him in, oblivious, and I swallowed hard, nodding like it was nothing, even as my pulse thundered. That night, with thunder rumbling like an omen, we risked it all. Jake's door was shut, music thumping faintly through the walls, and Alex slipped into my room like a ghost, locking the door with a click that echoed my racing heart. We didn't speak cold, with the house so alive around us, just collided in the dark, clothes shedding like inhibitions, his body a map I was desperate to memorize. He was gentler this time, reverent almost, lips mapping my jaw, my chest, whispering endearments in Spanish that made my skin hum mi amor, tan fuerte, and I lost myself in him, in the way he yielded and demanded in equal measure, our rhythms syncing like we'd been made for this. Climax hit like lightning, leaving us breathless, curled together under the covers, his head on my shoulder as rain drummed a lullaby on the roof. But secrets have a way of seeping through cracks. A week later, Jake found the cracked photo frame in my trash glass, swept up hastily after that first night, and pieced it together with the late-night whispers he'd half heard through thin walls. He burst into the kitchen one morning, face pale as milk, eyes blazing with betrayal. "What the fuck? David. Alex. My best friend. You're screwing around with him." The words landed like punches. Jake's fists clenched on the counter. And Alex, frozen in the doorway with his coffee mug, looked like he'd been gutted. I stood there, world tilting, the man I'd become in those stolen nights fracturing under my stepson's glare. "Jake, it's not. Not what? Not disgusting. Not a betrayal." His voice broke, raw with hurt, and he stormed out, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. Alex reached for me, but I pulled away, the weight of it all crashing down the lies. The age, the love that had bloomed in shadows now exposed to harsh light. "We have to end this," I said, voice cracking, even as it tore me apart. He nodded, tears streaking his face, and left without a word, the front door clicking shut like a final judgment. The house echoed with emptiness after that. Jake moved out a week later, crashing with a buddy across town. His texts curt and cold, "Need space. Don't call." I wandered the rooms like a ghost. The bed too big. The silence deafening. Every corner haunted by Alex's laugh. His touch. Work blurred into numbness-sinless spreadsheets and client calls that meant nothing, and nights stretched into insomniac vigils. Staring at the ceiling. Replaying that shower moment. Wondering if love was always this cruel. This transformative. I'd believed it was simple. Find a partner. Build a life. Fade into comfortable routine. But Alex had shown me the truth. Love was chaos. A force that upended everything, demanding you face the parts of yourself you'd hidden. Months dragged on. Autumn leaves turning Maplewood's streets to fire. And I threw myself into therapy. Into runs that left my lungs burning. Anything to outpace the ache. Jake thawed slowly, awkward coffees at the diner. Stilted talks about his classes, but the wound lingered. A scar between us. Then, one crisp November evening, as snow flurried the first of the season, the doorbell rang. I opened it to Alex. Coat dusted white. Eyes shadowed but fierce. A duffel bag at his feet. "I can't stop loving you," he said, voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. "And I won't run anymore. Not from this." I pulled him inside, the door shutting out the cold, and we stood there in the foyer, breaths mingling, the air thick with possibility. Jake had given his blessing, grudging at first, then real, "If he makes you happy, Dad, then." Okay. Over tearful talks that bridged our fractured family. We talked that night. Really talked about the fear, the stigma, the beauty of loving across lines society drew in sand. Alex stayed. And slowly, we built something real, mornings tangled in sheets without hiding. Evenings walking hand in hand through the neighborhood, ignoring the stares, claiming our space. Love, I learned, wasn't the straight path I'd chased, it was the detour. The surprise encounter in steam and shadow. The willingness to rebuild from ruins. With Alex beside me, 19 no longer a barrier, but a bridge to youth's fire. We faced the world not as stepdad and friend shadow, but as equals, flawed and fierce. That night in the shower had changed everything. Yes, but it was this. The quiet mornings and shared dreams. That redefined it all. In the end, love wasn't about belief. It was about becoming. The fallout from Jake's discovery lingered like smoke after a fire. Acrid and inescapable. I'd always prided myself on being the steady one, the stepfather who showed up for soccer games and parent-teacher conferences. The guy who fixed leaky faucets without complaint. But now, with Jake's glare burning holes in my back during our forced family dinners, I felt like an imposter in my own home. Alex had vanished from the picture. His text gone silent after that gut-wrenching goodbye on my porch. His absence a hollow in my chest that no amount of whiskey could fill. Nights, I'd lie awake, the bed cold and vast, replaying the curve of his smile, the way his fingers had woven through mine like they belonged there. Work offered no refuge. The office in Newark, with its fluorescent buzz and endless emails, became a numb haze. My boss, a barrel-chested Italian named Vinny who'd known me since my early days post-divorce, clapped me on the shoulder one afternoon. "Harlan, you look like shit. Woman troubles." I forced a chuckle, muttering about deadlines. But inside, the lie twisted like a knife. How do you explain to a straight arrow like Vinny that the man who'd upended your world was half your age, your stepson's best friend, and the best damn thing that ever happened to you? Instead, I buried it, powering through claims adjuster reports until my eyes blurred, coming home to a house that echoed with ghosts. Jake tried, in his halting way. A month in, he showed up unannounced with a six-pack and that old baseball mitt from his Little League days. "Want to toss a few?" he asked, voice gruff, avoiding my eyes. We headed to the backyard, the November chill nipping at our heels. And for an hour, we played leather-smacking palm, breaths puffing white in the air. "I get it. You know," he said finally, winding up for a pitch. "Mom left. You were lonely. But Alex, he's like a brother to me." The ball sailed wild, thwacking the fence, and I caught his arm, the words spilling out. "It wasn't planned, Jake. It just happened. And it scares the hell out of me because I love him." He stared, then nodded. Slow. The first crack in the ice. "Yeah. Me too. I guess. Just don't fuck it up." That conversation cracked the door, but rebuilding was slow work. We started small movie nights with burgers from the drive-thru. Talks about his internship hunts that veered into my own regrets. I told him about college, the fumblings with a roommate that I'd chalked up to experimentation, the marriage to his mom that was more habit than heat. I thought that was it for Mestrate. Settled. Done. Jake listened, mid-forgotten on the grass. And for the first time, I saw understanding in his eyes, not judgment. "You're still dad to me," he said, punching my shoulder lightly. "Queer or not." But Alex was the ache that wouldn't fade. I'd drive past the college campus on errands, heart lurching at the sight of students huddled under umbrellas, wondering if he was among them, buried in psych textbooks or sketching in that notebook he always carried. One night, scrolling mindlessly through my phone, I found an old photo of him at Jake's birthday barbecue, grinning with a beer in hand, sunlight gilding his skin. My thumb hovered over the delete button, but I couldn't. Instead, I texted Jake, heard from Alex. The reply came quick. "Yeah. He's wrecked. Says he misses you. Won't say more." That was enough to ignite the spark. I lay there in the dark, resolve hardening like frost on the windows. Love like ours didn't die easy. It simmered, waiting for the right moment to boil over. The next day, I called in sick first time in years and drove to the campus library, heart hammering like a war drum. He was there, in the back stacks, hunched over a book on queer theory, irony not lost on me. "Alex," I said, voice low, and he looked up, eyes widening, book tumbling to the floor. "David." "What?" I didn't let him finish, crossing the aisle in 3 strides, pulling him into a hug that crushed the air from us both. "I can't do this without you," I whispered into his hair, inhaling the familiar scent of cedar and coffee. He clung back, a sob escaping, and in that public hush, with students murmuring nearby, we held on like survivors. We talked for hours in my car, parked in a forgotten lot behind the dorms, rain pattering the roof like impatient fingers. "Jake knows," I said, and his face crumpled relief. Fear. Hope twisting together. He hates me. No. He gets it. We're family. All of us. Fucked up as that is. I traced his jaw, thumb brushing the stubble-eyed mist, and kissed him slow, deliberate, tasting the salt of unshed tears. Come home with me. Tonight. He nodded, and as we drove back to Maplewood, hand in his, the world felt righted, if only a little. Reentry was tentative. Jake was at the house when we arrived. Pizza boxes strewn on the coffee table. A basketball game flickering on the TV. He looked up, saw Ushins linked, faces flushed inside, long and weary. So, this is happening. Alex stepped forward, voice steady. If you'll let it. Yeah. I love him. Jake. More than anything. My stepson studied us, then cracked a half smile. The first real one in months. Fine. But if you hurt him, I'll kick your ass. Laughter broke the tension, and we settled in, three of us on the couch, passing slices. The game a backdrop to halting stories. Jake admitted his own confusions, a crush on a lab partner he hadn't pursued, and Alex shared coming-out tales from freshman year. Raw and real. By the time the credits rolled, the air felt lighter, bonds reforged in honesty. That night, with Jake's blessing echoing in my ears, Alex and I claimed my room, Felino more sneaking. No shadows. We made love with the lights on, exploring each other in daylight's honesty, his body arching under mine, gasps filling the space where silence once reigned. I love you, he breathed, fingers digging into my back, and I echoed it, over and over, a mantra against the doubts. Afterward, tangled and sated, we talked dreams, his grad school plans, my vague thoughts of writing that novel I'd shelved, a future where we traveled, hand in hand, from Jersey shores to California coasts. But society wasn't as forgiving as Jake. Whispers started at the neighborhood block party. Mrs. Ellis from across the street, her eyes narrowing over her lemonade. David's got a new friend. I hear. That boy from Jake's school. Alex squeezed my hand under the picnic table, his smile defiant. But I felt the sting, the old fears resurfacing. We ignored it, dancing to the radio's tunes in our backyard later, his head on my shoulder. But the world outside our bubble pressed in. Winter deepened, snow blanketing Maplewood in hush, and we carved out joy amid the chill. Holiday lights twinkled on the tree we decorated together, Jake stringing the top, Alex teasing him about his lopsided garland, and New Year's Eve found us three on the roof. Champagne flutes raised to the stars. Toasts to second chances. To love that surprises you, Alex said, clinking my glass, his eyes promising forever. As fireworks burst over the skyline, I pulled him close, kissing him deep, the cold forgotten in our warmth. Yet challenges loomed. Alex's parents, conservative Catholics from Newark's Ironbound, caught wind through a mutual friend. The call came while I was shoveling the drive, Alex's phone buzzing, his face draining of color as his mother's voice crackled through, sharp with accusation. A man. Twice your age. Have you lost your mind? He hung up, trembling, and I wrapped him in my coat, holding him as sobs racked his frame. They'll come around, I lied, stroking his hair, but doubt gnawed. That night, we drove to the city, found a quiet bar in the village, and drowned sorrows in craft beers, toasting to resilience. Spring thawed the ice, literally and not. Jake landed an internship in Boston, a tearful goodbye at the train station where he hugged Alex fierce. Take care of him, he said, and Alex nodded, eyes misty. Alone at last, we bloomed picnics in Branchbrook Park, cherry blossoms raining petals like confetti, lazy Sundays in bed, reading poetry aloud, his voice wrapping around Whitman like silk. Love deepened, roots sinking into shared vulnerabilities, me, fears of aging, his of never being enough. But the real test came in June, when Alex's father showed up unannounced. A burly man with calloused hands and a scowl that could curdle milk. He stood on our porch, demanding his son come to his senses. Words laced with scripture and shame. Alex faced him, back straight, my hand in his. I love David. He's my home. The man faltered, eyes flicking to me not with hate, but something softer. Broken. You're throwing away everything. No, Dad. I'm finally finding it. He left without another word. But weeks later, a card arrived terse, but an olive branch, proud of your strength. Doors open. Summer heat waves tested us, further a road trip south. Motels with flickering neon. Nights under vast skies where we made love in the bed of my truck. Stars witnesses to our passion. Back home, Pride Month parades in the city. Rainbow flags waving like banners of victory. Alex's hand high in mine, shouting chants that echoed our triumph. By fall, with leaves turning gold again, we'd woven a tapestry flawed, vibrant, unbreakable. Jake visited, bringing a girlfriend who fit seamlessly. Dinners filled with laughter. Alex's family trickled in a sister first, then his mom. Tentative brunches that bloomed into acceptance. And me. I'd changed. Shed the skin of doubt for something authentic. That shower surprise had been the spark. This life, the fire, love, I knew now, was the great surprise, messy, profound, worth every shattered belief. As autumn painted Maplewood in fiery hues, the rhythm of our life settled into something almost normal, if normal could encompass a 43-year-old insurance adjuster waking to a 19-year-old's kisses. Coffee brewing while he hummed off-key show tunes from his theater minor days. Alex had enrolled in advanced psych courses. His days a whirl of lectures and coffee-fueled cram sessions at the kitchen table. Notes scattered like confetti. I'd watch him sometimes, chin in hand, marveling at the man he'd become, no longer the shy kid crashing Jake's parties, but a force, vibrant and unapologetic. His laughter filling the house with light I'd forgotten existed. But normalcy was fragile, a veneer over undercurrents that pulled at us. My ex-wife, Jake's mom Lisa, called one evening, her voice tinny through the speakerphone as Alex chopped veggies for stir-fry. David, Jake mentioned. Your situation. With that boy. The knife paused. Alex's eyes flicking to me. Wary. I swallowed, forcing steadiness. It's more than that. Lisa. His name's Alex. And I love him. Silence stretched. Then a sigh. As long as you're happy. Jake's worried about you. Though says you're all in too fast. The words stung, echoing my own fears. But Alex slid beside me, hand on my knee, grounding. We hung up with awkward pleasantries. And later, over dinner, he teased. Your ex thinks I'm a boy toy. I pulled him onto my lap, kissing the doubt away. She's wrong. You're everything. That everything manifested in small rebellions. We joined a local LGBTQ+ group in Newark. Meetings in a community center with folding chairs and herbal tea. Stories shared in a circle of faces marked by their own battles, a trans teen navigating school, a lesbian couple fighting adoption red tape. Alex thrived there, his empathy a magnet, while I hung back, the old guy in the room. But their welcome thawed my hesitations. One night, a burly bear of a man clapped my shoulder. Age gap. Uffed. Love don't punch a clock. It stuck. A mantra against the stares we still caught at the grocery store. The clerk's lingering glance at our linked hands. Winter holidays loomed. A minefield of traditions. Alex's family, post-reconciliation, invited us to their iron-bound feast, a raucous affair with bacalhau and flan. Aunts pinching cheeks and uncles grilling Alex about that nice man you're with. His dad, ever stoic, pulled me aside by the garage, offering a beer. Heard you fixed up the old Chevy. Good hands. It was approval, gruff and coded, and I nodded, throat tight. He's lucky to have you. Back inside, Alex's eyes met mine over the din, sparkling with gratitude. And under the table, his foot hooked Manea's silent vow. Jake's Christmas was quieter. A tree trimming at my place with Lisa tagging along. Her new boyfriend in tow, a mild-mannered accountant who blushed at Alex's easy charm. Gifts exchanged, wool socks for me from Jake. A leather-bound journal for Alex from Lisa, who whispered, "Write your story. It's a good one." We did. That night, after they left Alex penning verses in the journal, me reading over his shoulder, our bodies entwining on the rug by the fire, slow and worshipful, embers glowing like the heat between us. Spring brought renewal, but also tests. Alex's thesis on queer identity in modern media hit a wall. Advisor feedback harsh. Doubts creeping in. What if I'm not cut out for this? He'd mutter, pacing the living room, hair tousled from frustrated raking. I'd draw him down, massaging tension from his shoulders, reminding him of the fire that first drew me in. You're brilliant. And even if you weren't, I'd love you. Nights like those, we'd escape to the Jersey Shore. Boardwalk walks under boardwalk lights. Cotton candy sticking to fingers. Ferris wheel kisses that spun the world dizzy. One stormy evening, holed up in a motel. Thunder crashing. We made love with the windows open. Rain scent mingling with our cries. Reclaiming strength in each other's arms. Society's barbs sharpened too. A coworker, overhearing a call from Alex, cornered me in the break room. That your stepson's buddy. Jesus. Harlan. Ever think of settling down proper? The word proper landed like a slap. But I met his eyes. This is proper. My life. My rules. Word spread. Tension simmered. But Vinny had my back. Mind your business. Lou. And I found allies in unexpected places. Like the HR rep who slipped me resources on allyship. Summer swelled with heat and hope. We road tripped to Provincetown, a queer haven where hand-holding drew cheers. Not stairs, beaches alive with drag brunches and sunset sails. Alex, shirtless and golden, tackled me into the waves. Laughter bubbling like champagne. Evenings, we'd wander the dunes, talking futures, his PhD dreams, my semi-retirement fantasies, a house upstate with a garden for his sketches. Kids. He asked once, tentative, and I paused, heart full. Someday. With you. Anything. Back home, Jake announced his engagement, a whirlwind thing with his Boston girl. Wedding in the fall. We flew up for the shower, toasting in a backyard strung with lights. Jake pulling us aside. You too. You're my family. Thanks for showing me what real love looks like. Tears pricked. And later, in our hotel, Alex and I celebrated privately, champagne spilled on sheets. Bodies slick and urgent. Vows whispered in the afterglow. But cracks appeared. Alex's mom fell ill, breast cancer. Stage 2, and the iron-bound home became a vigil of hospital runs and chemo schedules. He was a rock, cooking pots of caldo verde, holding her hand through nausea. But it drained him. Shadows under his eyes. I drive them. Wait in sterile halls. My presence a quiet anchor. One night, as she slept, he broke in the car. What if I lose her? I held him, rocking like a child. You won't. And if we'll face it together. Her recovery was slow but steady. A reminder of fragility, drawing us closer to his family. Bonds forged in waiting rooms. Fall returned. Leaves crunching underfoot as we planned our own milestone, a commitment ceremony. Small in ours. In the backyard with Jake officiating. Lisa and Alex's clan toasting with Prosecco. Vows exchanged under an arch of autumn vines, mine. Promising to cherish his youth's fire. His. To honor my steady heart. Rings, simple silver bands etched with surprise, and as we kissed, cheers erupted. the world affirming what we'd built. Yet, in quiet moments, doubts whispered. Turning 44, I caught my reflection lines deepening, hair silvering, and wondered if I'd hold him back. He sensed it, always, pulling me to bed with fierce reassurance. You're my forever, David. Age is just a number. And in his arms, I believed it. Our love a testament to time's irrelevance. That year closed with snow again, but warmer now, a fire crackling. Alex sketching by my side, our hands intertwined. The shower surprise felt like a lifetime ago, a spark that ignited this blaze. Love, I'd learned, was the ultimate plot twist, dramatic, tender, endlessly human. Winter's grip loosened into a tentative spring. But for us, the season carried undercurrents of change that tested the roots we'd so carefully nurtured. Alex, now 20, threw himself into his final undergrad semester with a fervor that bordered on mania, late nights typing papers on intersectional identities, his laptop glowing like a beacon in our darkened living room. I'd brew tea, rub his feet when he crashed, but the stress etched lines on his young face, a preview of the man he'd become. This thesis is killing me. He'd grown, head in my lap, and I'd kiss his temple, murmuring, You're slaying dragons. Amor. I'm just the guy polishing your sword. Humor helped, but reality bit harder. My job, once a steady anchor, began to chafe. Endless audits. A promotion dangled, then snatched by corporate reshuffling. Vinny pulled me into his office one gray afternoon, cigar smoke curling like regrets. Harlan, you're distracted. That boyfriend of yours trouble. I bristled, but honesty won. No trouble. Just. Life's bigger now. He nodded, wise eyes crinkling. Take the buyout. Life's too short for spreadsheets. The offer came the next week, generous, tempting, and after sleepless talks with Alex, curled under quilts, I signed. Freedom tasted like possibility. Scary as hell. Unemployment's first weeks were a revelation. Mornings slow, with Alex's alarm pulling me from dreams, his body warm against mine before he dashed to class. I'd tinker in the garage, restoring that old Chevy his dad admired. Oil under nails, a therapy of sorts. Afternoons, we'd meet at the park, him with books, me with sandwiches sprawling on blankets, his head on my thigh as I read aloud from his psych journals, debating Freud versus modern queerness. You make theory sexy, he'd laugh, nipping my ear, and we'd steal kisses behind oaks, the world fading to our bubble. But bubbles burst. Jake's wedding planning hit snags, venue cancellations. Family drama with Lisa's side, and he leaned on us hard. Weekend calls turning into crisis aversions. You're the stable ones now, he joked, but the weight landed heavy. We flew to Boston for fittings. Tuxes starched and awkward. Jake's fiancée beaming as Alex adjusted his tie. You two are goals, she said, and Jake, flushed, hugged us both. Yeah. Sorry I was a dick at first. Forgiveness, layered and earned, knit us tighter. Alex's health scare came unannounced, a routine checkup flagging irregular heartbeats. Echoes of his grandma's arrhythmia. The cardiologist's office, sterile and echoing, held us in limbo. Tests, monitors, a halter strapped to his chest like a penance. What if it's serious? He whispered in the waiting room, hand clammy in mine. I squeezed, voice firm. Then we fight. Together. Results were benign, stress-induced, manageable with meds and mindfulness, but the fear lingered, sharpening our gratitude. That night, home safe, we bathed together, my hands soaping his skin with reverence, making love soft and slow on the bath mat, towels forgotten, his sighs a symphony of relief. Society's gaze sharpened too. A local paper ran a fluff piece on Maplewood's modern families. Our photo arms around each other at the Pride picnic, captioned with veiled curiosity. Comments online stung, predatory much. Won't last. Alex scrolled once, face hardening, then deleted the app. Fuck him. We're real. But doubt seeded, and in quiet fights over forgotten chores or my hovering post-scared snap. I'm not breaking. David. I'd retreat, nursing wounds, until makeup sex reignited us. Apologies gasped against skin. Summer bloomed defiant. We escaped to Fire Island, a queer paradise of pine-scented dunes and beach bonfires, where age and labels dissolved in salt air. Alex, bronzed and bold, danced at tea dances, pulling me into the fray, our bodies sinking to pulsing beats. Nights, under mosquito netting on a deck, we'd talk legacies, his dream of a nonprofit for LGBTQ+ youth. My urge to mentor at the community center. We'll build it, he said, fingers laced with mine, stars wheeling overhead. Back in Jersey, Jake's wedding weekend was a whirlwind, rehearsal dinners with toasts that brought tears. Alex's speech cracking jokes about the stepdad who stole my heart. Vows exchanged at dawn on a coastal bluff, waves crashing like applause. And as Jake kissed his bride, I held Alex close, our own rings glinting in the sun. Reception dances, father-son sway with Jake. Then Alex twirling me under string lights. Whispers of soon. Our turn. Fall's harvest brought abundance. I started volunteering, leading workshops on coming out stories. Faces lighting as I shared our shower, serendipity edited for PG, but raw in impact. Alex's thesis defense loomed, nerves fraying him. But we prepped together, mock panels in the kitchen, his brilliance shining through doubts. The day came, him in his best button down, me in the audience clutching a lucky stone. He nailed it, questions fielded with grace. And when the committee nodded approval, he launched into my arms. Crowd be damned. We did it, he breathed. And in the hallway, against lockers, we kissed like victors. But triumph shadowed with loss. Lisa called late one night, her mom, Jake's grandma, gone sudden from a stroke. The funeral was a blur of black dresses and condolences. Jake shattered, us flanking him like sentinels. In the cemetery, rain-slicked grass underfoot, Alex held Jake as sobs racked him, my arm around them both. Grief bound us, a new layer to our tapestry. Winter crept in, holidays hushed by absence. We honored her with a quiet tree, ornaments she'd gifted, and New Year's found us at a cabin upstate, snowshoeing trails, roaring fire, mulled wine warming veins. There, ringed by woods, Alex dropped to one knee, box trembling in hands. Marry me, David. Let's make it legal. Forever. Tears blurred. I pulled him up. Yes on my lips, sealing it with a kiss that tasted of cider and commitment. The year turned, our engagement a beacon. Planning wove joy invitations to Jake, his family, a venue in the Palisades, cliffs overlooking Hudson. Doubts niggled me age, his youth but love drowned them. Nights fierce and tender, bodies mapping promises. As snow melted to spring, we stood stronger. The surprise that started it all, now the foundation of everything. Love's drama, its romance, culminated in this two souls, intertwined, defying odds for a meaningful whole. Spring unfurled like a promise kept, cherry blossoms dusting Maplewood streets as wedding plans consumed our days. Alex, ever the organizer, spreadsheet vendors with glee caterers for fusion fare. A florist for wildflower cascades while I handled the sentimental, selecting readings for me. Comings that echoed our stolen glances. Anyone lived in a pretty how town, I'd read aloud over breakfast, his foot nudging mine under the table, eyes sparkling. That's us, he'd say, leaning for a syrup-sweet kiss, the world narrowing to our kitchen's warmth. But joy's underbelly stirred anxieties. My physical routine at 44 flagged elevated cholesterol, a wake-up to mortality. Gotta watch the burgers, the doc said, prescribing statins and salads. Alex fretted. stocking the fridge with kale smoothies. His care a balm and a reminder of the gap his vitality against my creeping middle age. You're perfect, he'd insist. Hands roaming during evening yoga sessions he'd drag me into. Bends and stretches turning playful. Downward dog dissolving into laughter and lust on the mat. Jake's life intersected hours and waves. Newlywed bliss had him glowing during visits. But cracks showed arguments over career moves. Her job in Philly pulling them apart. How do you do it? He asked one barbecue. Flipping burgers with Alex. Stay solid. We exchanged looks. The shower memory a silent chapter. Talk. Always. I said. And later. Over beers. He confessed doubts. Us offering the wisdom of our stumbles. External pressures mounted. A neighbor petitioned the HOA over inappropriate displays, our pride flag on the porch. Deemed divisive. Meeting in the clubhouse. Voices rose misses. Ellis decrying family values, but Alex stood. Voice calm fire. Love is the value. Judge that. Allies emerged. Votes swung our way. Flag flying higher. Victory tasted sweet. Celebrated with takeout tie on the lawn. Toasts to resilience. Summer heat baked the planning frenzy. Bachelor party Jake's idea. A weekend in Atlantic City. Slots and shows. Strippers optional. But the vibe electric. Alex whooping at blackjack wins. Me nursing a scotch. His hand possessive on my thigh under the table. Hotel suite shenanigans truth or dare turning intimate. Confession spilling. My first crush. A lifeguard at 13. His. A teacher who'd never known. Dawn walks on the boardwalk. Arms linked. The ocean's roar drowning insecurities. The ceremony approached. Rehearsals tense with last-minute hitches officiant delayed. Cake topper lost. But the day dawned perfect. June sun gilding the Palisades cliffs. Hudson glittering below. Guests assembled, Jake beaming as best man. Lisa dabbing eyes. Alex's family in a proud cluster. I waited at the arch. Heart thundering. Until music swelled he appeared. In slim linen suit. Wildflowers in his lapel. Eyes locked on mine like anchors. Vows poured out mine halting with emotion. Promising to surprise you every day. His fluid. Vowing to love your every season. Rings exchanged. Kiss sealing it amid cheers. The world affirming. Reception was revelry dances wild and slow. Jake's toast cracking us up, from shower crashes to this love wins. Cake cut. First slice fed with frosting smeared grins. Night fading to stars. Honeymoon in Provincetown Redux. But deeper bike rides to beaches. Lobster rolls shared. Nights in a lighthouse B&B. Lovemaking with waves as chorus. Fall brought settling. Alex started grad school. Seminars on trauma therapy. His passion reignited. I dove into writing that novel. A semi-autobiographical tale of late-blooming love. Chapters tapping out on my laptop. Feedback from beta readers Jake first. Thumbs up emoji flurry fueled me. Evenings. We'd read drafts aloud. His critiques gentle. Edits turning to caresses on the couch. Challenges persisted. Alex's advisor pushed a grueling schedule. Burnout looming. My manuscript hit a wall. Plot twists eluding. Fights flared snapped words over dishes. Silences heavy as fog. But we mended. Therapy sessions, ours now. A couples counselor with rainbow stickers on her door, unpacking fears, his of stagnation, mine of fading relevance. We're evolving, she'd say, and we'd leave hand in hand. Stronger. Winter holidays glowed. Our first as husband's tree with personalized ornaments. A star engraved, surprise eternal. Jake's family swelled with a pregnancy announcement. Ultrasounds passed like treasures. Alex's mom. Cancer-free a year. Hosted. Her embrace fierce. New Year's. We renewed private vows by the fire. Naked and unashamed. Bodies affirming what words couldn't. Spring cycled back. Anniversaries marked with a vow renewal trip to the Grand Canyon hiking rims. Helicopter dips. A picnic at sunset where we scattered petals. Recommitting under vast sky. Back home. Community deepened. I published the novel. Launch party packed with group friends. Alex's pride radiant. Yet, a shadow fell. Alex's fertility dreams resurfaced. Post-wedding talks of surrogacy or adoption stirring. Tests showed hurdles me age factoring in and grief hit. Nights curled tight. Tears soaking pillows. We don't need bio. He whispered. But loss lingered. We pursued fostering classes. Hearts opening to older kids. Stories of resilience mirroring ours. Summer's heat wave brought clarity. A foster placement, a 17-year-old trans boy. Scared and sharp tested us. But his slow thaw. Calling us dads. Healed wounds. Jake's baby arrived. A niece named after Lisa's mom. Tiny fists clutching our fingers. As leaves turned. Our first year married crystallized love, not static. But a living thing. Dramatic in its depths. Romantic in its reach. Meaningful in its growth. The shower's surprise echoed still. A origin story for this profound life. Autumn's palette deepened as our marriage entered its stride. But strides falter on uneven ground. The foster kid. Micah 17. With dyed blue hair and a chip on his shoulder the size of Jersey upended our routine. First weeks were chaos. Curfews defied. Slammed doors. Therapy sessions where he'd glare through crossed arms. Alex, with his psych background, navigated gentler. Late-night talks over hot cocoa yielding glimpses abusive home. Dead-name scars. I'd hover, offering bad dad jokes. Pancakes shaped like stars. Until one evening, he cracked a smile. You're okay, old man. Progress. Fragile as frost. My novel's release thrust me into spotlights. I dodged bookstore readings in Hoboken. Q&As where audiences probed the shower scene. Alex attended every. Front row beaming. But publicity's glare amplified scrutiny. A reviewer sniped, glorified midlife crisis. Words stinging like salt and cuts. Ignore it, Alex urged. But doubt crept. Nights when I'd pace. Manuscript revisions mocking from the desk. He pulled me back. Always massages turning to moans. Affirmations gasped in ecstasy. Your story's ours. Beautiful. Jake's parenthood amplified family ties. Baby visits filled weekends, diaper disasters. Lullabies cooed. Micah awkwardly holding the bundle. Eyes softening. Weird. But cool. He'd mutter. Jake confided stresses, sleepless nights. Marriage strains, and we'd host uncle nights. Beers and board games. Bonds of chosen family. External storms brewed. Anti-LGBTQ plus bills snaked through Trenton. Headlines screaming restrictions on trans youth. Hits close with Micah's fears. Protests called. And we marched, signs high. Chants hoarse. Alex's voice leading. Mine steady beside. Arrest threats loomed. But solidarity surged. Allies linking arms. Home after. Bruised but unbroken. We'd collapse. Love making a defiant reclaiming. Bodies shouting what words couldn't against hate. Winter blanketed us in quiet intensity. Micah's birthday 18 now marked turning point. Cake smashed with glee. A car key gift from pooled funds. Hugs tentative then tight. Thanks for not giving up, he said, and tears welled. His adoption talks began. Legal webs navigated with lawyers. Our home expanding. Alex's grad work intensified. Dissertation on resilience in queer foster youth mirroring life. Late labs left him drained. Our bed half empty. But reunions sparked him tumbling in at dawn. Stripping to slide against me. Sleep forsaken for slow. Sleepy sex. Whispers weaving dreams. Spring thawed revelations. My cholesterol stabilized. Runs with Alex becoming ritual pounding pavement. Breath synced. Post-jog showers echoing our origin. Steam veiling playful soapy hands. The novel hit modest success. Audio deal inked. Fan letters trickling. Your story gave me courage. Validation. Hard one. Challenges peaked with Micah's crisis school bully outing him viciously. Fallout of suspensions and sobs. We rallied. School meetings. Counselor referrals. Nights fortressing his room. Alex's expertise shone, guiding him through, while I fixed the basic shop meals. Safe space. His turnaround joining GSA. First boyfriend, shyly introduced, filled us with pride. Summer sizzled with triumphs. Adoption finalized in a courtroom bathed in light. Judges gavel a benediction. Micah's last name ours now. Celebration picnic. Jake's family toasting. Baby cooing in laps. Honeymoon sequel to Hawaii volcanic hikes. Luau dances. Black sand beaches where we swam nude. Waves caressing. Nights in overwater bungalows. Lovemaking to ukulele strains. Fall's harvest reaped growth. Micah off to community college. Dorm pranks texted nightly. Alex defending dissertation. Panel applause echoing his nerves. My sequel brewed. Chapters fueled by our expansions. But intimacy ebbed under busyness, missed dates. Exhausted crashes. A weekend retreat to the Pockenees mended, hot tub soaks. Hikes hand in hand. Bonfire confessions reigniting spark. I need you, he said. Stars reflected in eyes. And we made love on a blanket. Earth cradling us. Passion renewed. Winter closed the year with wonder. Holidays with Micah home. Tree trimmed with his ornaments. Jake's second child announced. New Year's. Family toast to surprises that become home. Our love, through dramas of adoption, activism, art, proved its mettle Gaykin in trials. Cam Suck in tears. Lang Man in touches. Kitch Tin in stance. All culminating in deeper meaning. As winter yielded to a verdant spring, our life pulsed with the energy of expansion. But expansion strained seams. Micah's college commute brought weekly chaos laundry avalanches. Midnight fast food runs. His dating dramas spilling over dinners. He ghosted me after prom. Alex mediated with therapist poise. I'd offer gruff wisdom over ice cream. Our trio a makeshift therapy circle. Pride swelled when he brought home his boyfriend. A quiet artist named Theo. Double dates at indie films forging bonds. My writing career crested unexpectedly sequel agent. Tour booked, readings in Philly. NYC launches with wine and whispers. Alex tagged along to Manhattan nights. Gallery hops turning flirty. Hotel romps overlooking skyline. But spotlight fatigue hit crowds draining. Questions probing personal. How real is the age gap? I'd deflect with humor. But home debriefs with Alex unpacked vulnerabilities. His reassurances anchors. You're a star. My star. Jake's family grew. Second child a boy with his eyes. Visits a whirlwind of bottles and babbles. Godparent duties callidus for the naming ceremony. Vows of guidance echoing our own. Lisa, softened by time, confided her regrets. Our chats bridging old divides. You found your truth. Inspires me. Societal tempests raged anew. National headlines blared rollback, threat same-sex adoption, curbs and fear gripped Micah. College plans teetering. We lawyered up. Joined advocacy suits. Testimonies in Albany where Alex's voice trembled but held. Families like ours save lives. Media picked it up. Our story in op-eds. Backlash trolls flooding inboxes. Nights. We'd unplug. Stargazing in the yard. His head on my chest. We matter. Summer scorched with escapes. Family road trip to Yellowstoneizers erupting like our laughs. Tense sex under big skies. Micah and Theo roasting marshmallows. Jake's crew in adjacent sites. Wildlife safaris bonded us. Bison herds mirroring our herd strength. Fall's academic crunch tested Alex's PhD candidacy. Qual's a gauntlet of all-nighters. I played house husband. Meals prepped. Notes organized. But burnout shadowed him. Irritability flaring. I can't think with you hovering. Space given. Reconciliation in bed, apologies and kisses. Slow builds to shattering releases. Trust rebuilt. My tour wrapped with a hometown reading. Library packed. Neighbors who'd sneered now clapping. Mrs. Ellis in the front row. Nodding. Book signings turned to hugs. Stories shared. Your words helped me come out. Catharsis. Profound. Winter holidays amplified magic. Micah's first college break. Theo integrated. Gift exchanges with queer book hauls. Jake's kids shrieking at presents. A quiet vow renewal, just us. Officiant friend. Backyard snow dusted. Rings reapplied with tears. Spring cycled to milestones. Alex passed quals. Celebration dinner with champagne toasts. My third book deal inked. Memoir pitched on our journey. Micah proposed to the earrings simple. Us tearful witnesses, wedding plans syncing with ours for a double ceremony dream. Challenges crested with health me annual check flagging prostate concerns. Biopsy looming. Fear clawed. Alex's hand steady through pre-op jitters. Waiting room vigil, his stories distracting. Benign results flooded relief. Post-op pampering from him soups and snuggles deepening intimacy. Talks of legacies, our stories immortal. Summer's heat wave hosted Micah's wedding small. Beachside. Waves lapping as vows echoed ours. Theo's artful rings. Dances under lanterns. Our toast, love surprises. But endures. Fall harvested abundances. Alex's first publication. Journal article cited. My memoir outline approved. Family fuse, Jake's moved back to Jersey. Playdates with our niece and nephew. Winter's hush brought reflection. New Year's Eve. Firelit. We chronicled year's scrapbooks of photos. From shower shock to now. Everything changed. He said. Lips on mine. For the better. Our arc. Through advocacy wins. Family weaves. Creative peaks. Health hurdles. Affirmed love's power, kitch tin in battles. Cam suck in fears. Lang man in renewals. All toward humanistic depth. Spring's renewal mirrored our culmination. Lives intertwined in a tapestry rich with threads of trial and triumph. Micah and Theo's honeymoon glow lingered in weekly calls. Their apartment a haven we visited with pies and advice. Grandparents in spirit to future plans. Jake's relocation nearby knit the clan tighter, block parties with kids chasing fireflies. Barbecues where stories swapped like spices. Alex's PhD advanced. Fieldwork in community clinics. His compassion touching lives. A team counseled through transition. Thanks cards piling. I shadowed sometimes. Odd. My own work shifting memoir completed. Publisher raves. Launch a Jersey affair with readings that moved rooms to tears. You've captured the heart of it. An editor said. And Alex, beside me, squeezed my hand, pride unspoken but electric. Societal shifts buoyed us. Advocacy suit won. Adoptions protected. Headlines heralding Jersey's queer families fight back. Parades swelled. Us marching with Micah's GSA. Rainbows a sea of solidarity. Backlash faded to murmurs. Our flag a neighborhood staple. Summer solstice hosted a family retreat, Cape May beaches. Victorian rental with porches for sunsets. Waves lapped memories. Kids building castles. Adults in Adirondacks sharing wines and wisdoms. One eve. Bonfire crackling. Jake raised a glass. To David and Alex, the surprise that started it all. And the love that keeps us going. Laughter. Then quiet. As we coupled off, Alex and I, to the dunes. Sand warm under blanket. Stars witnessing slow. Soul deep union. His body a homecoming. Fall's colors crowned closures. Alex defended dissertation. Panel unanimous. Doctorate hooding a ceremony with us cheering loudest. My memoir debuted to acclaim. Signings with fans echoing. You gave me hope. Micah graduated. Job offer in graphic design. Theo's exhibit opening synced. Winter's embrace was gentle. Holidays epic tables groaning with feasts. Gifts thoughtful, Custom portrait for us. Engraved with shower silhouette stylized. Jake's third child whispered on ultrasound. Family ever-growing. Challenges. Mellowed. Taught graces. A minor car fender bender Alex's fault. My patience tested mended with ice cream apologies. My knee twinge from runs. His physio sessions playful. Intimacy, evolveless frenzy. More savor. Mornings with coffee and caresses. Nights exploring with toys from a discreet shop. Laughter mingling moans. Anniversary 10th wait. No. Our 5th. But feels eternal marked with Paris, Seine strolls. Eiffel twinkles. Cafe kisses. Under the tower. He renewed. You changed everything I believed. I echoed. Tears salting escargot. Years blurred to legacy. Fostering more a sibling pair. Toddlers with giggles that echoed youth. Writings anthologized. Alex tenured young. Clinics expanded. Jake's business thrived. Lisa's art shows attended. In quiet. We reflected porch swings. His head on shoulder. That shower. He mused. A lifetime ago. Best surprise. I replied. Kissing gray temple to silver. The ending. No end. But meaning profound. Love as revolution. Appending beliefs for authenticity. From steam-shrouded shock to this sunlit now. We'd proven it LGBT love. Dramatic. Passionate. Transformative. A beacon for all. In Maplewood's heart. 2 men husbands. Fathers. Creators walked hand in hand. Story unfinished. But beautifully. Eternally written.